So all of these changes makes one wonder, are we seeing a bit of a workplace revolution when it comes to women in power? Joining me now is feminist Lauren leader Chivee. She is the author of Crossing the Thinnest Line, How Embracing Diversity from the Office to the Oscars Makes America Stronger. Lauren, it's a delight to have you with me from New York City. Happy New Year, my dear. Sorry you're getting the cold weather out there.
We are. It's warm in here, though. Happy New Year.
It is, absolutely. We've got warm hearts that'll keep us warm and guide us. So we've been seeing some changes. We're in, what, day 2 of the new year. I'm curious if these moves, Hoda being named Matt Lauer's replacement, Gretchen Carlson joining the board of Miss America, these moves, some of the moves that you were hoping to see?
Yeah, and I think they're overdue, and I hope there'll be more to come. I mean, obviously, look, I'm good friends with Gretchen Carlson. I work with her very closely. I'm thrilled to see this. I know she was beside herself after the scandal erupted because, you know, she understands how hard many of the women who participated, all the women in the Miss America contest, how hard they work to get where they are, and to see that kind of behavior proliferate is just so unacceptable. She's the perfect person for this, and I'm super happy for her. And look, I mean, I think the question is, will these departures of high-profile men open the door for women to have opportunities that they have not otherwise had? And I certainly hope so. I mean, it's almost inconceivable that they wouldn't have put a woman on the Today Show. I mean, Hoda's amazing. People love her. It was totally the right call. But there are lots of other examples of that. We're waiting to see what happens at, for instance, New York City Ballet, where Peter Martins has now resigned. I mean, there are thousands of these. But the point is that these small changes are definitely powerful and important, but we have to remember, you know, 4% of the CEOs in the Fortune 500 are women. That number has not changed in decades. We still are only at 20% women in Congress. There are endless numbers of other sort of statistics that need to change, and I think that is the big question, is whether or not the passion and the energy that was stirred up in 2017 and in the years leading up to that actually drives meaningful statistical change in terms of the leadership of women across the American economy, business, entertainment, et cetera.
When we think about the fact that the Me Too movement was originally spawned by a woman who was very, very concerned about minority women, women without means, disadvantaged women, it is a concern that their voices will be lost in this, but we saw a really powerful move, a partnership, if you will, a sisterhood form with the Time's Up movement that we're seeing, these big Hollywood heavy hitters raising money and resources and a groundswell to stand in solidarity with women. They basically answer the call of the farm workers, the female farm workers who wrote an open letter back in November saying, look, this happens to us all the time. Are we surprised that this is happening in Hollywood? No, because it's our reality. These kind of partnerships are going to be really, really vital. Are they not?
They're huge. I mean, look, one thing we've certainly learned in the last year that I hope a lot of American women have taken away from the experience of the last year is just the force of numbers, the power of collective action. And that is huge. I mean, you know, look, the high-profile cases that have been so much in the news that you and I have talked about are important because they have shed a light on an issue that has been in silence for so long. But the reality is that for the millions of American women, and, you know, 70% of Americans in poverty, 70% of minimum wage workers in this country are women. Those are vulnerable women who have very little recourse. And the reality is that even, you know, most women who raise complaints in the workplace wind up paying a price for it professionally. So I totally applaud the legal fund. I think it's so important. But we also have to really build accountability into every level of society. You know, we read about, you know, union leaders, for instance, at the Ford plant, which the New York Times brought to light, you know, covering up for the harassment in the workplace there. So this is a long-term systemic challenge that the country faces, and it's going to take leaders in the Fortune 500, leaders in virtually every sector, leaders in media, and absolutely our political leaders, which we've also talked about before, insisting on real and lasting accountability and change for this to make a real difference.
And leaders like you, Lauren leader Chivee, thank you so much for adding your voice to this. You're an important one to be out there talking about this. And you're right, multifaceted problem, multifaceted solutions will be in the offing. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.